It's Davina. It's a breezy day at the very end of August. Tomorrow we start September. I'm in a Star Trek fandom t-shirt that I got at a NorwestCon charity event years ago, and I'm going to talk about whether it's best to direct sow or to pre-start your tomato plants. Now this all started way back in April. About mid-April is when I did all of my direct sowing for everything from lettuce to kale to cucumbers. And then, well, I had a little adventure. Let me just say, I am not a very good biker. I was so excited when I was coming down the hill and I saw the Kittitas County Master Gardener's plant sale that I tried to do a swift turn on gravel, and I wiped out. Tore a nice little hole in my jeans, but I got back up, and I'm gonna see if they've got any extra plants. They did all online sales, so it's possible they don't have anything for me to pick up, but if they do, I think I might get something. Let me show you what I got from the Master Gardeners. Now that I'm back home, I got a early girl hybrid. She is looking pretty nice. And I also ended up with a Roma, which will probably make some awesome sauces. I can chop and freeze them, maybe even do a little bit of canning. And seeing that these guys, even this short little Roma, are doing a bit better than I think. This guy here is my best looking tomato out of all my tomatoes that I just did a direct seed into my garden. I think these two that have gotten a bit more tender loving by the Master Gardeners might do the trick. I just gave them a donation. They happen to have a ton of extra tomatoes, and that's how I got those. So, it's been a while. We're in August, and it's time to check to see how my garden is going. And I have to say, these are some of my direct sow tomatoes, and they have been the most prolific. These aren't quite ripe yet, but I'll show you some of the ones that have ripened up. They're not quite as big as a Roma, but they're not as small as cherry tomatoes, and they are super, super flavorful. So flavor can't be beat, but their size is a little bit small, and it could be because I scavenged the seeds. So this is my process for scavenging seeds from a tomato. I get a paper towel, I mark it with whatever the particular plant is, and I know it looks like that's an E, that's supposed to be an O, and all I do is I cut open the tomato, I squeeze out the seeds. It's really easy to do with Roma tomatoes. And then I dry off the seeds and pack them in the paper towel. I leave that for next spring, and then I'll rip this piece of towel apart and plant my seeds. Now, this one right here is the Roma tomato, and it is not doing so hot. And right next to it is one of my direct sows. This one is actually a yellow tomato, and I've gotten a few tomatoes off of it. So, you know, some of these little tiny cherry tomato seeds that I started just direct sowing and kind of scattering in have done better than the ones that I got from the Master Gardeners. Even my, windy, my early girl coming up through this mustard, hasn't, well, she's got one, but that's it. Now, I've got a slight problem. You see, because I scavenged my seeds, I didn't know what I was gonna get. And some of the seeds that I got were from some really dark little twilight tomatoes, and I think these are whatever that hybrid turns into when it finally goes to seed. And I've got them all over the place. Everywhere I direct sowed, I've got some of them. But I am concerned that maybe I'm misidentifying that as a weed, because it's definitely nightshade family, but I don't know if it's an edible nightshade like tomatoes, or if it's a poisonous nightshade like, nightshade. So I'm not going to eat these guys just because I'm not 100% sure, but they are all over where I direct sowed tomato seeds. So I have two important takeaways from this. First off, if you're collecting seeds from tomatoes that you get at the grocery store, you might end up with different tomatoes than the ones you thought you were going to get, depending on if you got those from a hybrid or not. My second takeaway is, where I'm at in eastern Washington, I can direct sow into the soil middle of April and come up with great tomato plants. If you are not in climate like mine, you might need to start it in either row covers or some sort of cold box, or even a greenhouse or inside your own house before you put them outside. So as long as you've got them planted by April, you should be able to harvest starting in August. That's my takeaway. Hope you enjoyed this sort of garden to table cooking thing. It's not much cooking. It's mostly gardening. You know what to do. All the buttons. Click them. Smash them. Do the bell.